All right, let's have a look here. What am I doing? What am I looking at? Okay. Hey guys, welcome to twitch.tv/elpicachon. My name is Rodrigo. This is my sidekick, Smokey the Smoke Detector. And we're not going to do Poison Team today. We're skipping it again because I had kind of a rough night. I'm not at 100%. And I feel that Petunia's adventure has gotten so intense that we need to approach it at nothing except 100% of our capabilities. So we're going to do some raids. We're going to chat. Um, stuff like that. So take it easy. It'll just be easy peasy times. If you would like to get in on some raids, let me know, and we can do that. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be hopping on randos raids, and helping them, saving their raids essentially, so that they can catch the weird Pokemon of their dreams. Lagnus says, he's alive, everyone panic. Yes. I mean, barely, but here I am. Harvester says, howdy, Rodrigo and chat. Happy Wednesday. Gonna be lurky while I bring in groceries and take out garbages. That's perfectly fine. Lagnus says, I was going to pick up Pokemon Sword, but I did not when I found out you don't get the stab the other trainers. Yeah, that's right. You really don't interact with the trainers at all. There was a game that came out a long time ago for, I want to say PS1, maybe PS2, called Jade Cocoon. And in that one, the Pokemon, like, basically, it's a Pokemon-like game, but in that one, the monsters come after you, and I think you have the ability to hit them if you wanted. But it's usually a lot better if you put out your own pocket monster and fight them. Jade Cocoon was hardcore. I'm really surprised that we never saw anything. Actually, there might have been a sequel, but it didn't do super well. But I really liked it. Um, Harvey says there is some stab, but it won't satisfy your dark passengers. So yeah, that's right. Stab. For those of you who are not in the know, stands for same type attack bonus. It's something that Pokemon people say a lot. Like you get stab on that, um, and basically, yeah, all that means is you get. It's like if you use a normal move with a normal type, you get stab. You get a same type attack bonus. So the ideal thing in Pokemon is to say attack with a grass move use a grass type to attack with a grass move into a water type. That way you get stab and you get super effective damage. And that's some very basics of Pokemon. Harvester says, "Oh man, I loved Jade Cocoon growing up. It was such a jam. I really liked it. It was like dark and moody. It's like I feel like a lot of Pokemon clones were really trying to also copy Pokemon's vibe, but Jade Cocoon wasn't. Jade Cocoon is like, we're gonna do something else here, guys." Oh, I already did that. What I want to do is search stamps. Oh.
Good evening, Poke Pals.
Hey, Saint JW, thank you for the subscription. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we're not doing Poison Team today. I've had kind of a rough day health wise, so I'm not at 100%. So I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more low impact. Um, but yeah, we'll hang out and try to hop on some raids and stuff. I feel like the first thing we have to do is change clothes, right? Number one most important thing when doing raids is, say it with me, fashion. So I really have to figure out what I want my character to look like. I have been systematically buying every piece of clothing in the game, so my wardrobe has really exploded. So I really have to come in with like a concept of what I want to like dress around. Um, Cable knit sweater. I need to turn this off first. Oh, gross! A Mr. Mime shirt. Do I want to be? Do I want to be Captain America and Knives Out? I don't know. Cable knit sweaters are not really my thing. A pink vest and tie. Formal raids. Yeah, we'll do that. Uh, we'll do some formal raids. There you go. Well, now I need socks. Uh, there we go. And then some shoes. Black, white, black, red. Yeah, I guess that's the problem with dressing in navy is that then I don't have shoes that match particularly well. These look okay. Um, let's do a luxury black travel bag. I guess probably no hat. These glasses are good for this, I think. And then maybe we can do some fancier. Yeah, some white gloves. That looks okay. Um, Lagnus says Numenera, not Numenera, I think. I am confused now. There's like 13 things with either of those names. What is? Oh, hang on. I think I skipped some stuff. Um, I was just sorry to hear about the rough night. Yeah, it's all right. I'm doing okay. Lagnus says it'll be easy as a simple encounter in Numenera. Yeah, those have gotten away from us because we roll really badly. Harvester says there's some stab, but it won't satisfy your dark passenger. Um, Harvester says as a cocoon master slash trainer, you got XP for capturing monsters. Your monsters got XP for defeating critters and trainers. Yeah. Um, Likeness says Numenera, not Numenera. I think I am confused now. There's like 13 things with either of those names. I'm not sure what you mean. Harvester says it was so hard. It was so hard into the Japanese folklore theme and setting. Very similar game style, but distinct, and its story slash setting were way different. Yeah, Jade Cocoon went really hard. It just kind of did its own thing, and it did it really well. Um, Likeness says style greater than substance. Yes, if there's one motto to this channel, it's hopefully not that because I'm actually not very stylish. You're literally just looking at the back of my bedroom. There's a door halfway in the frame, so actually I'm hoping for substance. Um, I was just listening to the JC soundtrack on YouTube the other night too. Great music. JC. The Goog says, "Oh, thank goodness you can change the colors. The red vest and black tie made him look like a valet." I was thinking about that of just like having him be like, Pokemon is weird. You'll run into things where they're like, "I am the Pokemon like train conductor," and it's like, why does there need to be a Pokemon train conductor? It's like, or I'm the Pokemon park ranger. Actually, park ranger makes much more sense, but it's like, yeah. So it's like maybe I should dress my character up and be like, I'm the Pokemon waiter. I will serve you these raids. Yeah, good shoes. Likeness says I called it Numenera instead of Numera instead of Numenera. There's things called both in the RPG world, so I'm always confused what is what. Oh, Jade Cocoon. You listen to the Jade Cocoon soundtrack. I gotcha. Let me give the Goog a shout out because I think I keep not doing that. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at what's poppin' in the raid world. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's no way this raid is actually still extant, but let's go in anyway. Yep. All right, let's look at this stupid rabbit. And yeah, we'll go in with Noctowl. Extant Raider sounds like a great Yu-Gi-Oh monster. Yeah, sounds about right. I don't know that I don't know that much about Yu-Gi-Oh, but from what I've seen, it's big into wacky character names. Uh, quote number 10, my wife respects my opinion up to a point. Rodrigo, hot takes, big chicken, D. Lopez. Yes. I don't remember what I said about that, but it's true. Lagnus says, run the final adventure in the One Ring starter set tonight. The family, all grown-ups, liked it enough to want to try the full game. That's good. Let's just go into an uproar. Ran Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay last weekend and running Alien on Sunday. It's a great time to be alive. Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of games going on. That's good. Rawr. I have an Urshifu. Is that the name? Yeah. I have an Urshifu, and I don't think I've even bothered to give it like the Gigantamax ability. Like I'm just like, okay, thanks for the Pokemon. Like it's a Pokemon I'm not really interested in, but thank you. But it's kicking around somewhere in my boxes. Lagna says also we will prepare our next Pathfinder campaign before Alien, but there I'm a player instead of GM. That's cool. Oh, good. Solrock is boosting its stats. That's helpful. Horsepoint Mine says, jealous of your wide breadth of games, Lagnus. I only have a 5e game I'm running for pay right now. I need some variety in my life. Yeah, I definitely don't get to run as many games as I want. And I think it's largely, well, there's a few things. One, I'm doing too much already. But even if I took some of that out, that's a good hit. That's a good owl. Even if I took some of that off my plate to run some more stuff, my schedule's really bad. Like, I usually work evenings, and on the evenings where I'm not working, I'm podcasting. So that makes it very difficult, right? I would have to like, I mean, I don't like. I was gonna say I would have to find other people that have a morning schedule like mine, but no, because in the mornings before work I'm either sleeping or running errands, so I can't do that either. Yeah, I just do not have the time right now, which is a little sad. Um, back when I was running the Void Saga, I was running 2 games, right? So now I'm down to 1, technically 2, but both of those games exist in the same time slot, so we're either playing one or the other. So there, I never do like, I never run like 2 sessions in 1 week or anything like that. Let's see. Lagnus says, I have been thinking. I still think Numenera is combat focused. Anything but combat is rather loose with hot air balloon skills if you feel like, but combat is quite codified. You're right. Um, Especially because, uh, the book says things, or the system says things like, hey, you can, like, when you level up, or when you semi-level up, because Numenera is like weird about leveling up, which is fine. It's like you can pick up a new skill, and it can be any skill except for attack and defense skills. And it's like, yeah, they don't want people getting too good at combat, and I think it's because no matter what, you. Oh, great! Eevee's gonna help the Soul Rock. The Soul Rock. Oh no, it actually used them. Okay, good, 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 good. Um, yeah, there's still clearly a very strong focus on combat, but if you're basing it on our game right now, we are very low level. So the game tends to front load a lot of combat stuff so that you have it early on, right? It's like I walked into game with like 2 points of armor and the ability to zap someone, and that's it. That's all the abilities that I got starting out. But as I level up, I can pick up other stuff. And I don't know how far along we are in the release schedule, but um, we you probably haven't heard an exclusively exploration session. Most of the sessions have been kind of have gotten kind of overwhelmed by combat. Um, it kind of makes itself like the biggest thing. But if you don't have a combat and you get a chance to use some of those other skills, it's okay. Like the fact that combat is codified and other stuff is loosey goosey doesn't necessarily mean that it's more combat oriented. It means that it means that the game has 2 distinct modes, right? There's a mode when you're fighting and the mode when you're doing something else, which Numenera says that it wants to be exploring. So if you're exploring, then things are looser. If you get into a fight, that things are a little bit more codified, and I think that's okay. I think that is something that can still be satisfying, but we haven't done too much of it. We've done now we have recorded at least one exploration only session where there was no combat, and it was fine. There weren't really any issues with it. Um, I just like a lot of the time I'm like, oh boy, now I'm gonna get to roll some of these loosey goosey skills I have, which I only have like 3. And a lot of the time, Brad just is just like, okay, well you just do it, right? And I'm like, oh, I didn't get to negotiate with you for rolling this skill, which is fine. You get what you want, or your character gets what they want. But yeah, there's definitely been a few times where I'm like, all right, time to get into the nitty gritty of the rolls. And it's like, well, we're just not going to roll. We're just going to role play it out. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's fine. It's not a problem. Um, Horsepoint Mine says, I've been trying to train up several friends to run games because I'd love a chance to play instead. Yeah, that was like, that's what I did. It's like, obviously I ran the Void Saga for 1,000 years, but I had, I went, you guys know what, like, somebody else needs to run a game, and somebody else needs to run long games. Because I've done this for a long time, and A, I would like to play, and B, my brain is really fried from 10 years of having to keep NPCs' names straight. Um, Lagnus says, the one ring I run for my wife, daughter, and son-in-law, Alien/Pathfinder, and a lot of other games, is with my regular game group. Warhammer and other systems I run online in an open invitation session to learn, teach, and try different systems. That's cool. So many systems out there are like, you curious? Here, have free stuff. Well, D&D is more, you curious? Give us $50 and I'll tell you a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, definitely, right? Because they can. Because, like, people literally don't realize that there are games besides Dungeons and Dragons. So it's like, Dungeons and Dragons is like, are you curious about role-playing games? For only $50 or $60 or $70, you can learn all there is to know about role-playing game. The one role-playing game there is. So definitely D&D gets away with that stuff because of how little knowledge there is about it, right? Like I feel like if you want to get into Pokemon, there's a lot of, like, you can buy the main Pokemon games, or you can buy like the side Pokemon games, like Pokemon like Mystery Dungeon or whatever. Um, but but yeah, for D&D that stuff's a lot harder. Um, so anyway, yeah, Numenera is interesting. It's going interestingly. I don't know how long the session is, but definitely some of us have had some big point expenditures. And I'm looking at I'm looking at character sheets, and I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, I don't think we're gonna get to replenish these points. I think basically some of us are just gonna be dragging our carcasses for the rest of the game, because I don't think the game can accommodate like a couple 10-hour rests now. So we'll see. Horsepoint Mind says the 5e group I run is for new players. I'm very open with them that D&D is not my preferred system and that I don't recommend sticking to just one. But a lot of them are really excited just about playing D&D, which I find interesting. Even being told there are other options, they just want the big one. Because it's the one that they've seen, right? They've seen Critical Role. They've seen Dimension 20. They've seen D&D 5th Edition. I'm assuming Dimension 20... I know they don't exclusively do D&D, but I think a lot of their games have been D&D. So yeah, they have seen people play D&D and have a super great time. And if you're like, okay, we're gonna play a different game, they're like, but I wanted to play the one the fun famous people play. So yeah, a lot of the time you have to do that. Like, again, my first like actual formal role-playing game was Vampire the Masquerade. So I actually feel like I was very lucky. Like, Vampire the Masquerade has lots of problems. And, maybe my brain has been warped by having that been my formative gaming experience. But also having like the ability to just be like, or rather having like the basic idea of what a role-playing game is not be started by D&D, I think is like invaluable. Like, it's allowed me to approach games in like very different ways, whereas I think if I had started with D&D, I would have a much more, if not limited, then definitely mainstream look at or take to games like that. Magnus says marketing works. Yeah, D&D has money, which, like, D&D has more money than everybody else, so they can put that money to work to sell things. And again, more importantly, it's the advent of streaming, right? Of streaming real plays. Like, Wizards of the Coast will pat themselves on the back a lot about how D&D 5th edition is the best selling edition ever, but they wouldn't be there if, you know, huge and medium and small and tiny streamers weren't streaming Dungeons and Dragons all the time and had created all this content that WotC didn't have to pay for. Um, I'll go get this guy. So, it's like, yes, advertising is part of it, but also it kind of just worked out this way. It's like D&D is um, the classic and iconic role playing game, right? So all of these, like including Critical Hit, like the reason why we started playing Dungeons and Dragons on Critical Hit is because Steven was curious about Dungeons and Dragons. Steven wasn't curious about Vampire the Masquerade. Steven wasn't curious about GURPS or anything else. Steven was curious about Dungeons and Dragons, so we started a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Would we have had the same success if we hadn't done a Dungeons and Dragons podcast? It's very hard to tell, but possibly. Horsepine Mind says, "Yep, they're all Critical Role fans. I've definitely plugged Critical Hit though. Thank you, I appreciate that." Likeness, nobody played D&D here in the 80s, well, sort of, so I got introduced to a lot of systems from start. That's good. Am I fast? There's no way I'm faster than these guys. I'll still throw a fire spin just in case. Streamers are PR multipliers. That's what they're called in corp speak now. Yeah, definitely. That's why streaming exists the way it does, right? That's why brands like Nintendo, who are like, wait a minute, you can't use our intellectual property to make money, like have had to have like somebody within the company be like, shut up, you guys, shut up, listen, look at these numbers, right? Look at how much free advertising we're getting, and you can tell that Nintendo's still like, weird about it. Like a great example is them like basically pulling Smash Bros. Ultimate out of Evo, out of like the biggest fighting game tournament. The biggest yearly fighting game tournament. They're like, no, we don't want you to make money off of Smash Brothers. Whereas it's like, what they're really saying, what they're really doing is like, no, we don't want people to see Smash Brothers in what is like the largest and most viewed fighting game tournament, there is. So it's weird to see companies still hold on to antiquated ideas, but they will sometimes. Lagnus says, I'm glad he wasn't curious about GURPS. I think Critical Hit would be buried under a formula of calculating fall velocity or something. Absolutely. I actually, if he had been like, hey, I've been hearing about this game called GURPS, I would have been like, we're not playing that. Let's play this instead. But also, for me, 4th edition was kind of a win-win. 4th edition was D&D, which is the most popular game. But also, 4th edition is, in my opinion, the best D&D has ever been. And still is the best D&D has ever been. So I just, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer to just run a 4th edition D&D game. Horse One Mind says, I recently found the homebrew RPG that I wrote when I was just starting out in like elementary school. I really want to get a group together to play it one of these days. Oh, that'll be a blast. I've definitely come up with a lot of RPGs and a lot of settings that are in obviously in some sort of like in a unplayable pre-alpha state, right? I just kind of ideate them, write down notes, and then just kind of set them aside a lot of the time. Sometimes I come back to them and I work on them a little bit more, but most of the time I'm just like, okay, well, this is probably never going to be a thing. I don't have the time um, to workshop this, so it'll just be on the shelf, possibly forever, but definitely for a long time. Someday, someday, if I can get myself a little bit more emancipated from a day job, I might actually sit down and hammer out like an alpha build of one of the role playing games that I've tried to come up with. Horsewine Mind says, I think that game had races and classes, but then you just made up your skills and spells. Yeah, that's cool. I was doing Fate aspects before I even knew it. Yep. Yeah, Fate definitely taps into a very a very good aspect of role playing games, right? Which is that the very meta thing about Fate is like you can only do four things in the game. So whatever you want to call those things, that's fine. If you're like, I'm a wizard, so I use spells to do the four things I can do in the game, fine. If you're like, I'm a badass normal, so I use my abilities for the four things that I can do in the game, that's fine. It's all fine. So when you sit down to create a character, especially in Fate Core, and you look at the different skills, um, that does kind of create a little bit of difference because some skills can do certain things and some others can't. Whereas Fate Accelerated, everything can do everything. So you can actually make characters that feel distinct or that have like a different. You can make characters that feel different and play different in Fate Core, which is something that I'm finding out more and more as I basically go through over and over into Fate Core, which is something that I want to do. I want to get better at the game. Lagnus says there's a 5e book coming out soon with cinematic adventures of Highlander, Rambo, and some other high-profile IPs. D20 Modern updated to 5e, they say. We'll see. Yeah, D20 Modern was not very good. I think when we played it back in the day, we were like, yeah, this is pretty cool. But again, like when we were playing D20 Modern or looking at D20 Modern, we were a bunch of like White Wolf kids. So we were like, if you want to do modern adventures, why don't you just play World of Darkness? And it's like, D20 Modern is like, yeah, this is like for like real world but adventures, and it's like, but it's just as prohibitive as Dungeons and Dragons, right? It has that huge swing of the D20, so even if you make your character to be very good at something, their chances of failing at that thing are very high. Horseman Man says, I was just talking recently with a friend about the more open character building process of a game like Fate versus the very prescriptive process of a game that uses playbooks. They like the Fate style, whereas I really like having a framework to build upon. It's an interesting split. Yeah, so playbooks are like, to me, playbooks feel like they kind of evolve out of like board games, right? It's like Powered by the Apocalypse is actually a very narrow rule set. Like Fate, it only has a certain number of moves that you can do, and then your playbooks give you more moves. But a lot of them are just kind of similar moves that are just done like have slightly different results, right? So yeah, if Powered by the Apocalypse games are interesting in that they really require a like play to find out idea, right? It's like if you run Fate or D&D or World of Darkness or Exalted as a game master, you can have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen in any given session. And your players can always surprise you, and it can always go sideways or whatever. Good rolls, bad rolls, throwing things off, or players making decisions that you don't expect. That can always happen. But Powered by the Apocalypse really wants you as a game master to be like, okay, what do you do? And then once the players roll the dice, things are up in the air, right? And because players get to decide what the success of their roll means, a lot of the time it's going to change the direction of the things that you're doing, I think, if you're running it as written. I've seen a few real play Powered by the Apocalypse games, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm I feel like the game wants you to change the way you do things, or change the game itself based on the rolls, right? So I don't know. Also, like, they roll way too much. I feel like Powered by the Apocalypse is like, yeah, it's like when there's absolutely no other recourse, you roll and find out what terrible thing happens, right? So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't played enough Powered by the Apocalypse to figure it out. But that seems to be, when I read the rule books, that's what it seems to be saying. Um, Lagna says, I don't think ranged combat with modern weapons works well at all with a class/level system. Again, it doesn't work with a D&D framework, but it can, right? Levels don't mean anything. The idea of classes and levels can be taken differently. If you're thinking, like, modern ranged weapons don't work with classes and levels, like, I'm sorry, but you're thinking of it in D&D terms, right? Like, you can have classes and levels. Like, Numenera technically has levels, and ranged weapons work just fine. Like, you can have, like, Zorch lasers and guns and, whatever else, because the game is designed to support that. Whereas D&D, like, I would say that D&D is even supposed to support that, but the problem with D&D is that it's very stupid, and the main problem with D&D is that it's very stupid. It's very stupid, and its ideas are really retrograde. So when you try to move those ideas into the modern era, you run into big problems. So, like, one of the problems is, like, uh, guns are the greatest weapons ever made. They should deal more damage, and they do it at range, and they're very accurate, right? And, like, first off, let's assume that that's true. Let's assume that guns are, in fact, the greatest weapons ever made, and that you sure, and that they kill better than anything else, or whatever. Let's assume that's true. It's like, if you're running a fantasy game, if you're running a game in which you want swords and guns and knives to be equal, all you have to do is balance them against each other, right? That's all you have to do. You can be like, knives do a d6, handguns do a d6, like, swords do a d8, rifles do a d8, right? So that's like that's all you have to do. That's 100% all you have to do. The problem is that D&D likes to think that it's like this simulationist game, which is not, but it tries to think that it is. So it tries to sort of like bring this thing where it's like, well, archaic weapons aren't as good as modern weapons, so therefore, ergo, vis-a-vis, guns have to deal 3d8 damage, right? And it's like, no. First off, you're wrong, right? There's a reason why combatants in the army, and in other, like, in armies, have a rifle and a sidearm and a knife with them. Why? Because a rifle, a sidearm, and a knife are better in different situations, and very obviously you can say are better at different distances, right? Bringing your rifle to bear on someone who's jumping at you with a knife is hard. Like, killing someone with a knife where they're 10 when they're 10 feet away is harder than killing someone with a rifle when they're 10 feet away. Does that mean, so if somebody jumps on you with a knife and you can't bring your rifle around, does that mean that actually knives are better than rifles? No. Different weapons are good at different things. Like, it gets wacky when you need to, like, balance a sledge or something. Is like a big part of the reason why people don't use sledges anymore is because people don't wear armor like that anymore, right? It's like when you wore big medieval armor, you hit that armor with a hammer and you like turn it inside out. Like you basically like flip it into being concave and negate the protection of that armor. Like that's good. But nowadays, because people don't wear that kind of armor, that makes it less likely, or like that. That makes certain weapons not as good. But it's not that the weapons aren't good; it's that there's not situations where those weapons are as helpful as they used to be. So, I guess my thesis is: step one, like, actually, because it's a fantasy and you're balancing things however you want, you can balance things however you want. So that's step one. You can forget everything else. Just make guns deal as much damage as everything else, as little or as much damage as everything else. Period. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. You just fixed your game. Second, if you do want to have like different values or whatever, I guess don't, because you're wrong. Like weapons that you think are very good are actually not very good in every context. To a certain degree, that's what things like opportunity attacks or attacks of opportunity are trying to simulate. The fact that it's hard to bring a large ranged weapon to bear when your opponent is right next to you. But again, this kind of applies to everything, right? Like, and you can see that it applies to everything because there's nothing that doesn't kill you anymore, right? Like humans haven't like evolved past the ability to be killed by massive blunt force trauma, right? If somebody cuts your head off with an axe, your head doesn't roll back to your body and you put it back on and you're like, ha ha ha, axes don't work on people anymore. No, an axe will kill you, right? A sword will kill you, a gun will kill you, an artillery cannon will kill you. Like humans are very fragile, and so, you know, weapons should just deal damage. Sorry Lagnus, to just like jump into this, but yeah, it's hard to see the ways in which D&D kind of has the ways in which we think of role-playing games in terms of D&D. Right? Even if we have played other games, we still think of role-playing games in terms of D&D. Uh-oh. Someone's awake. Well, guys, it's that fun time of the episode where I run out and take Pavel to the bathroom before he pees on the... Oh, no, he's going back to sleep. Okay. We're good for now. Yeah, so sorry about that. Like says, I unload my M60. Okay, I hit. He takes a few points of damage. In 10 rounds, he'll be dead. Yeah. Thanks, Horsepawn Mine. I'm starting to really rethink this quote bot. Horsepawn Mine says yes. Powered by the Apocalypse is really good at an extremely narrow set of things. Even as a fan of that system, I think it's a shame how it gets applied to basically everything indiscriminately. Yeah, and that's the thing about Powered by the Apocalypse is that you actually can apply it to lots of different things, but you have to apply it, like you have to understand the genre that you're doing, and you have to like sew the Power of the by the Apocalypse things into that genre, right? Like Powered by the Apocalypse is a flexible system, but you can't just be like, I'm gonna make a like monster. Well, Monster of the Week is literally a version of it, and I haven't played it, so I can't speak on it. But let's say that you were going to make your own Monster of the Week, like supernatural Buffy the Vampire Slayer type game. You can't just throw in a bunch of moves for monsters and slayers and stuff. You have to think about what those games are saying, or what that genre is saying and doing. Sorry, this music's probably very annoying. You have to think about what the game is saying and doing, and then um, or what that genre is saying and doing, and then use Powered by the Apocalypse's rules and systems to both enhance and hype that genre, and to play down the aspects of that genre that are, problematic, or don't mesh well with a role playing game or whatever. Um, Lagnus says Shadowrun 3rd Edition has the most fun firefights to me. Once you start getting hit, you're in deep, deep trouble. Yeah, yeah, and you can have games like that, right? It's like New World of Darkness, like firefights are brutal, absolutely brutal. Like you roll well, or like you roll poorly, or like somebody attacking you rolls well, you're dead, or you are down to like two health boxes or whatever, and you're in the death spiral, and you're taking penalties to anything. The only thing that makes them more balanced is that everything is difficult to do in World of Darkness. So somebody kind of has to. It's like firing, like shooting someone is also a very difficult thing to do because everything's difficult in World of Darkness. So I guess that balances it out. Um, Horseman Ryan says, sorry, maybe that's too aggressive to live in the quotes. No, it's fine. It's fine. Yo, Rodrigo, just jumping in between class to drop you some cash. What? Great NATO. I appreciate that. Did I miss a ding? Well, either way, I appreciate you. Obviously, I appreciate the kashish, but I also appreciate you just being here and taking some time to jump in. I really appreciate it. Lagna says, also in Shadowrun 3E, if you are good at guns, punching or stabbing people, you kill them just as quickly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. That's the balance, right? Um, and classes and levels don't have anything to do with that. You can have a level-based system where weapons are balanced, or where different modes of attack are balanced, right? Um, Again, when you think about Dungeons and Dragons and the way that Dungeons and Dragons is built, and the way that people have approached Dungeons and Dragons in the past, is that's where a lot of those problems manifest, right? And it is. It's just that, again, what I mean by Dungeons and Dragons is very stupid, is that Dungeons and Dragons has, for most of its lifetime, existed, and the people with like people that are writing for it, not thinking about the game as a whole, both the narrative aspects, the mechanical aspects, combat, skills, like other things. Like they just don't think about those, right? Like you see that very often with like stuff like, this person is the king and blah blah blah, and they hate wizards. It's like, yeah, but like wizards are like really powerful and able to do really powerful things. Like if according to this chart there are 5 wizards in every town, and the king hates wizards, what's stopping those wizards from teleporting into the palace, killing the king, and teleporting away again? Literally nobody could stop them, right? The game, the settings don't think about the mechanics. The game doesn't think about its systems. The systems don't care about the fluff a lot of the time. Or if somebody writes systems based on fluff, they're broken. And that's exactly the deal with modern weapons, right? Whenever they try to put modern weapons into D&D, they just, there's this idea that more modern weapons are better. So they just make them better, and so now they're not balanced. So you run into issues like that all the time. Horseman says Monster of the Week is solidly mid in my opinion. My hot take is that it's actually a really bland and mediocre example of what Powered by the Apocalypse can be. I haven't played it, but I'm not surprised, because I think the majority of Powered by the Apocalypse games are going to be pretty bland, right? It's like it takes it's like creating a game based on Powered by the Apocalypse is actually very demanding, I think, for or to a creator. Like you have to understand the nuance of the genre that you're trying to emulate with the game. Otherwise, you're just making the same game again and just with like a different coat of paint. Um, Lagna says top secret that TSR published at the same time as D&D used the 100 system, and getting hit was really really dangerous. The best edition anyway. Yeah, sure, absolutely. So yeah, that's my rant about D&D and I guess modern weapons. Um, Again, do you want guns in your D&D game? The easiest thing to do is just like cross out where it says crossbow and write in like musket. And boom, you now have guns in your D&D game. Super super easy. You don't even have to worry about it. And then you just have all class features that care about crossbows care about muskets. Like that's fine. Super fine. Not a problem. A Mawile. Steel Fairy wants. Um, yeah, Fire seems like the obvious choice. Because fighting's gonna be covered by Fairy. We could send in a Water type. That's just gonna be neutral. Lagnus says, with all that said, Pathfinder 1E is still my favorite system for campaign play. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind Pathfinder. I liked Dungeons and Dragons third edition. I liked it okay. Like I definitely had a lot of stress with it because Dungeons and Dragons third edition is this big platter, and it's like you have, or like it's like a smorgasbord, right? It's a buffet, and says you can have anything you want, and it's like you like reach over and you're like, oh, they have cinnamon rolls, and you reach over and it's just a cardboard picture of like a 3D thing of cinnamon rolls that was like pretending to be cinnamon rolls, and you're like, well, the cinnamon rolls aren't an actual choice, and the game is like, well, you can cut out that cardboard cinnamon roll and try to eat it if you want, right? That's the problem with third edition, is that a lot of the options it gives you are underpowered or don't work the way that they're supposed to, so they're not actual viable options, right? Pathfinder did a lot to fix that. Pathfinder worked very hard to take out all those options, to power up options that were not good, and to create, sort of interesting, fun things to do with some of those options. So, from what I've seen of Pathfinder, it's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with it. Um, but yeah, I'm not running a Pathfinder game anytime. Definitely not Pathfinder First Edition. Probably also not Pathfinder Second Edition. Um, Again, just because I'm gonna stay away from that sort of medievalish fantasy game if I can. My Kingler's name is Violinist. Get it? Because it's a fiddler crab. Yo ho 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 ho. Turn down the desktop audio a little bit more. Somebody's Pokemon named April O'Neil. Oh, somebody like that's great. Because it's a turtle. Bless you, Rando, for naming your turtle Pokemon April O'Neil. Lagna says we played Blaze in the Dark, which uses a playbook of sorts. Yeah, I actually have not seen any. I haven't played Blades in the Dark. I haven't read the book. It's like in my list of things to do. I feel that as a game guy, as a role playing game guy, my education is a little bit behind because I haven't played or read any like Forged in the Dark games. Um, so that's something that a lot of people bring up, right? That's sort of like the big comparison points nowadays are like D&D, uh, Powered by the Apocalypse, Forged in the Dark, obviously World of Darkness, storyteller stuff. Those are the big things. Shadowrun, GURPS, but yeah, definitely of like the modern school of games. I have not like I still have a big Forged in the Dark gap in my knowledge. Horseman Man says I'm building a Gmax Kingler team just because he's so goofy looking. Well, bless you for doing that. I definitely for a while tried to make a Gmax Kingler team viable very early on in Sword and Shield's lifetime, and it was okay. Um, you can if you stat it right, Kingler like Gmax Kingler just hits like an absolute truck. The problem, of course, is that now here I go again. Is that now because of all the legendary Pokemon that are available, um, you are you're gonna be better off leaving your Kingler at home a lot of the time. I was so mad because I watched a YouTube video where somebody is like, look at this Greedent team, and I had a Greedent team, right? And it's like, what are the Pokemon in it? It's like Greedent, like Zacian, Incineroar, basically the guys that you see in everything nowadays. And it's like they played 2 games with Greedent, and then every game after that was like, oof, this looks a little bit too tough. I don't think I'm gonna bring Greedent. So there's like no point. There's no point in it. Like Greedent is actually just an empty spot in your team. Is like if you think you can flex on the other person, then you bring Greedent. If you don't think you can, then you're in troubles. Horsewine Man says, I feel like Blade's playbooks are more like cases than they are like played by the Apocalypse playbooks. A bundle of thematic abilities rather than narrative framework. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know, but that is what Powered by the Apocalypse is. Is sort of like your ability to hang hooks and alter the story is what your playbook is. Um, Lagnus says we liked it, but in the style of that is something we will play here and there when taking a break from Pathfinder. The flashbacks were fun, but we also thought we'd run out of fun flashbacks if we played too much. I mean, that's fair. Horsepoint Man says I really like Forged in the Dark games. Beam Saber is one of my favorites of all time. I really only play the battle towers. Oh, that's for something else. You said regarding Pokemon, I really only play the battle tower so I don't have to worry about being all that powerful. That's great. Yeah. And I do that too. Sometimes when I get the itch to play like my old doubles teams, I will set them up and send them into the battle tower and yeah, they do okay there cuz they're just competing against normal Pokemon. Swap cards. Another bug. Let's see. Let's go with that. Alagna says, well, it is late, and I think I've done my duty of having Rodrigo say something quotable, so I need sleep. Thanks. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Looks like it. Looks like it didn't accept your quote command. I'm very bad at commands. Yep, it doesn't want to work for some reason. It probably there might be a um yeah there might be a rest period for something, or maybe for like an individual person. It's hard to tell. Lang says it's supposed to be 13. It works every other time. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. The robot is not great. I'm sorry about that. Um, yeah, it's annoying when that stuff doesn't work. Let's Shadow Ball. Maybe somebody tried with the like number sign. Oh yeah, you might have. Yep, that's very possible. And also, Horsepoint Mine might have set up a second timer by having the having by using the command. So Lagness, that sucks. Well, maybe the robot will pick it up. Sometimes it takes it a little while, but if it doesn't, then I'm sorry about that. Um, I hope it doesn't detract too much from your El Pikachu experience. Welcome to El Pikachu's chat, where we all stumble over a robot while the Europeans are trying to go to sleep. Yeah, that's pretty good. Legan says, okay, I give up. That's how it works in every other stream at any rate. I'm tired and humiliated. No, no. I'm sorry. I apologize if the robot's not working properly. Um, I, you know, I wish. It might be because other people use, maybe they just use OBS and I use Streamlabs OBS. So maybe that's it. Thanks, Lagnus. Max Phantasm. All right. Whew. I kind of tired myself out talking about D&D. This of course after somebody I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but basically somebody retweeted someone being like, "What if fighters could do X, Y, and Z?" And it's like, yeah, every 6 months or so, a new person invents fourth edition, um, which I'm glad about. It's like I like fourth edition. Horseman Mind says, haha, yes, I saw that what if 4E tweet. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad because, again, nothing is saying that you have to know everything that ever was about role playing games, right? This person just doesn't know what fourth edition's deal is, and they don't have to. It is just funny that that stuff keeps happening, right? And it keeps happening both theoretically and in practice, because from what I hear, um, Pathfinder 2 has a lot of the same like design goals that fourth edition did, and so like emulates fourth edition in a lot of ways. Like I don't think it feels like they're copying stuff from fourth edition so much as like they've like done some serious convergent evolution. Check, check, check. Okay. But yeah, what are you gonna do? Except laugh and laugh. Um, actually, I'm gonna take a super duper quick break, see if Pavlov wants to go outside, and then we'll get right back into it. Where's my bees right spacks? Here we go. All right. No, apparently Pavlov is sleeping very comfortably and doesn't want me to bother him, so So there's that. So that's good. I don't know what I'm even going into this. Oh, here's something kind of fun. I trained up a where is he? I trained up a fracture and gave it an Eviolite, and it actually works pretty well. Like I was like, well, I got this shiny fracture, and I was like, I guess I could evolve them and whatever, but I'm like, actually, let's see how it does just as a fracture, and it does okay. I mean, raids aren't like the most difficult things in the world, so a fracture actually does fine a lot of the time. And because it's a dragon type, and I think it's like pure dragon, um, it also, obviously um, has a huge thing of or a huge arc of things it is strong against, um, or or it's either strong against them or neutral against them, right? So you can basically bring him to most raids, which is cute. Her actually, it's a it's a lady fracture. Her name is Tusky. Go Tusky. Oh, I think it's a shiny reel. Yeah, that's a shiny Boom over there too. I do not have any shiny Galar starters. Let's Dragon Dance. I do like the kind of design idea of the Galar starters Gigantamax forms in that it's like they don't get much bigger, but some aspect of their thing does. It's like Rillaboom's drum set becomes huge, and they get those like vine arms. Um, Inteleon, Inteleon's tail gets super crazy, so it turns into a sniper perch, and Cinderace with the like giant soccer ball, right? Like giant fire soccer ball with a face. It's like, yeah, how come Rillaboom's drum set doesn't have a face? Oh, I guess it does. Now that I think of it. Yeah, it has that little stump on the side on one of the toms. Horse One Mind says, I can never tell. Is Rillaboom like sunk up to its waist in the seat, or is it actually sitting up there? I think it's meant to be standing on it. Yeah, I think he's meant to be standing behind it, but he actually does clip into that. And that's kind of the one of the problems of like Dynamax raids is that you actually see the Pokemon from a lot of angles that you don't in like regular fights. Uh, Target has already taken some damage in the same turn. The attack power is double. Let's try that. Yeah, mushroom symbols. Yeah. So yeah, I guess his little tums kind of have faces. So it's also great because one of them is upside down. And is that a tum, or is that a thing that holds a symbol? It's hard to tell. We'd have to look at like a model of it in like from like multiple angles to see all that's going on. But there's a lot going on, and it's pretty cool. I like it. It's like in general, I don't like the Galar starters, but I definitely like the design choices that went into their Gigantamax forms. Those are really good. It's like Maybe I don't like the original design. It's like I don't like the original design, but I think like Cinderace's Gigantamax form is like an excellent design. It's like that's what you want the character to look like, to be like. It's just such a good idea. It's really strong. Also, unlike a lot of other Gigantamax forms, the Galar starters benefited from extra time, so their animations are more unique, whereas almost all other Gmax moves are just like a slightly different color or a slightly different effect version of the traditional move. All right, let's see what else there is. Boop boop beep boop 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 beep boop boop. It's like I'm like so thrown off because like NATO said that he was like giving me some money and I don't want it to not show it. So maybe I'll ask him later what it was he did. I'm not like, where's my money? I'm just like, yeah, I don't want them to not get the sort of channel recognition. Oh, phalanx. Yeah. What I should really do is like go on raids and then judge other people's Pokemon. Maybe I'll start doing that. Judging your raid Pokemon. Oh, forgot to put my busted up glasses back on. Okay, let's see. Tusky breaks the mold. Treat every raid like a contest spectacular. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we're working with here. There's only one player character. I guess I can also judge NPC. Um, so let's look. We have like 44 seconds to do this. Uh, Synchronize Espeon. Uh, that's pretty good. Plus the special glasses. I forget what they're called. That's good. That's a good build. That's a good idea. Yeah, definitely at least an 8 out of 10. It didn't look like they had nicknamed the Espeon. That's definitely points off. A good nickname is definitely something that'll push you over the top. Does Synchronize work in a raid? It does if their shield is down. So, for example, if Phalanx went first right now, because I don't think its shield is up, um, and did something, it would work. But as soon as the shield comes out, it stops working. So you only have that small. It's very difficult to time. It kind of has to work as an accident, right? So now it won't work anymore until all of those dots are down and before more dots come up. Dragon Dance, let's go! Smart to take out the Ice Dark Pokemon with a punch. Let's see. Yeah, they're not named. Oh, you can actually look at their full summary. Yeah, so why it's got Wise glasses on. That's cool. Yeah, good raid build, definitely. I think I can probably look at like how they're statted out, but I don't want to do that. That's too much work. And it's hard to do in 44 seconds. That is an issue with doing Outrage, is that it's like a multi-turn move, isn't it? Yeah. So if I wanted to judge people's Pokemon, I wouldn't be able to, because it just skips my choice step and just goes straight to Outrage. Oof. Poor Wishy-Washy. Yeah, it's like raids aren't tough, but if you go into a raid where there's only two players and you get something that's not a good matchup, um, you could actually fail this raid, right? I think we're two losses in. At four losses, we lose the raid, and it could happen if it hits that. If we don't take it down, um, and it manages to nail that Weavile, will be a three, and then we're probably not gonna fail this raid. We've got it down pretty far, but people fail raids. It happens. Horsepoint Man says I was going to judge your Pokemon, but then my dragon got really angry. So, yeah, pretty much. I'm just like, okay, Tusky, let's look at this Pokemon, and it's like, bah, bah, bah. Like, oh, okay, all right, all right, all right. Tusky wants to fight. I guess I should, if I'm gonna judge people's Pokemon, I should lead with a Pokemon that's like fancy. I mean, we've gotten some good hits in with Tusky. Tusky can rest for a little bit. Um, Axelgor is kind of a fashionable Pokemon, I think. I mean, it's meant to look like a ninja, but it actually has like accessories. It's got like his scarf and stuff. But I probably want to use. Where is my Sylveon? Oh, Sylveon. How do you call your Sylveon? Where is it? Oh, there's my Urshifu just kind of sitting there. Um, I probably keep passing it and just not noticing it. Sometimes it's hard to find things in these boxes. Where is it? Oh, maybe I got thrown into another box when I moved something. Do you guys see it and see my Sylveon in these boxes? Where is it? Actually, gonna have to search for it. I'm sure it's just looking at me right in the face. Oh, under to the right of Bruiser's left-hand column, under the Vicebolt. Oh, there it is. Thanks. Yeah, it must be really like aggravating to watch me just like pass it over and over and over again. You know what it is? Is that it's shiny and I was looking for something blue, probably. I forgot that I was supposed to be looking for something pink. Alright, we figure it out. Thank you, Horsepawn Mine. I appreciate it. Sorry to put you guys through that. Alright. Well, I get my character's dressed up. He's got kind of a Tim Gunn thing going. We can judge people's Pokemon. Alright, let's get this going here. Judging people's Pokemon. Judging people's Pokemon. There's no way it's going to let me into this one, but let's try it. Yep. That's okay. We'll check out a Noivern. Alright. Okay. That's good. Having multiple Pokemon come in is good. Horsepoint says I do that all the time. Yeah, I'm so bad at it. I don't know, Horsepoint Mine, if you were here when I was doing Gems of War, but Gems of War will like give you hints of be like these. You like match these three gems. And very often I need to do that because I will look and I will look and I will look and I can't find anything to match. I am super bad at that for some reason, which I think, you know, shows some sort of dysfunction. Okay, let's look at these Pokemon. We'll try to do one per turn. Okay. Mana Surge. Yep, that's right. All right, let's look at Haxorus. Mold Breaker, so and a Rock Helmet. That's good. What moves? Shadow Claw, Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw, Rock Tomb. Yeah, that's a good spread. That's definitely probably an 8 out of 10. Let's hyper voice it. Harvest says, "Hey y'all, back at it. That's cool. Thanks for coming back." I'm judging people's Pokemon now. That's what I'm doing. Hyper Voice. My Sylveon has Pixelate, so Hyper Voice is a fairy type move for it. It's like if the fight goes really well, like I won't get a chance to judge everybody's Pokemon. So I'm gonna hop to the Cinderace, see what it's got going on. I can already see that it's not a Libero Cinderace, pretty sure. Harvester says, nice, nice. We love Steely Judgment with benevolent raid contributions. Yeah, definitely trying to pull my weight here. Another good reason to go with Sylveon is it's not just a very fashionable Pokemon, but also like fairy types are murder machines, so it's a lot easier to pull my weight. Let's look at the Cinderace. Blaze, nothing wrong with that. Flame Charge, Double Kick, Double Edge, Pyro Ball. Hmm. With charcoal, I would say that's a 7 out of 10. That's not bad. Pixelate rules, yeah. I think I told you guys before, back when I was doing competitive stuff, I had a pixelate, I had like a round team, and definitely coming in as like the second round with pixelate, I definitely won a few games that way. Just had like a Ninkata uh, with round. So basically, it goes first, then my Sylveon goes off with round immediately after. Very strong. A pretty glass cannony team, though, unfortunately. Like, not a lot of bulk in the Pokemon that I ended up using. The other Bruiser was Drampa, so same deal, right? Drampa is a normal type, so its Hyper Voice hits pretty hard. Or not Hyper Voice, but you know what I mean. Round. Don't catch. Not bring a lot to this Dragon type raid there, Cinderace. Yeah, I guess that's another thing that I need to consider is what all is like. Was it a good idea to bring this Pokemon to this raid? Maybe their rating should go down if that's the case. Definitely. Oh, and absolutely 100% like subjectively like a big part of it is probably going to be like, do I see this Pokemon very often? And I do see Cinderace very often. So unless your Cinderace is doing something like really interesting, you're probably not gonna have a very high rating here if you bring a Cinderace. If you bring a Cinderace to one of these raids that I'm in. All right. Boo. Uh, Harvester says, I have a big personal bias against recoil moves that aren't softened by ability. Sheer Force plus Life Orb as well for that consequence-free boost. Oh, you mean like that aren't like yeah, that aren't softened up by things like hard-headed or whatever the ability is that lets you take no recoil? Or what do you mean? Ah, Pangoro. I'm like, yep, Fairy type's still good. Like, Fairy type is just so good. It's probably the best type. Stuff like Rocket, yeah, okay. Maybe I should not have a Pixie Plate equipped so that the raid can last a little bit longer and I can judge more Pokemon. Because yeah, I feel like yeah, Sylveon just like Fairy type is the best type, and on top of that, I feel like Sylveon is pretty close to like the best evolution. I think like Vaporeon is like super bulky and has a good special attack, so that helps. But like yeah, Sylveon just hits really hard. All right, let's see. So let's look at this Hatterene. Not nickname, so not great. Healing Wish, Dazzling Gleam, Power Whip, Psychic. That's a good array. Anticipation. Anticipation is really not a super great thing to bring to these raids, but it's okay. 7 out of 10. Uh, yeah, hyper voice. Is Umbreon any good these days? I feel like it's also extremely bulky. It's not bad. Um, I think all the evolutions are pretty good except for like Leafeon. I think it's like relatively weak. Um, and maybe Glaceon just because the ice type is kind of weirdly situational. But from my understanding, they're all pretty good. Oh, we get the Dynamax. Um, I don't think we're gonna find out anything interesting about this Eternatus because I don't even know if Eternatus has a hidden ability. Could have been a shiny Eternatus, but anyway, it's Eternatus. You know, the 7 out of 10. Again, no nicknames, no fancy stuff. Oh, is it nickname? I missed that. That definitely will make it go up. I have to figure out like I'm still trying to figure out like the best way to do this to look at their stats. So yeah, definitely I should write myself a list like look at the nickname, look at their is like probably in order of importance to me is shininess, which will be obvious, nickname, um, ability and held item, and then like the spread of moves. Harvestry says it saddens me that Vaporeon is a more reliable ice type than Glaceon is. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, definitely. And that's the case with a lot of stuff. Is like why bring an ice type where there's like so many um, critters that learn Ice Beam or Ice Punch or whatever. Bang. All right, let's see. What is the Oh, Eternosaur. That's cute. All right, that brings it up to an 8 out of 10 definitely. Man, I was really upset. Not really upset, but I was kind of upset the other day. Like, I did this raid, and I had a crocodile, and crocodile is the final evolution, right? Well, whatever. I had a little ground dark crocodile, and there was a Seishin in the raid, and it kept hitting me. So I was like way faster than me, and like the first turn it one-shotted me, and the second turn it didn't. So I was like hanging on, but like I was like, oh, that must have been a mistake. But like it wasn't. Like as soon as my Pokemon came back, they like hit me again, and I was like, I don't know what to do here. Like I could like get revenge and attack this person, but if it's not their raid, because I didn't remember whose raid it was, um, then yeah, it would really suck. All right. Well, I don't want to bring Sylveon to this because I still want to be helpful. Um, so of course we have to bring Drama Mama. Also a very fashionable Pokemon. Harvester says I like to see ice types with a weak armor ability. Yeah, I think there's a lot of combinations of abilities that would be very good for ice types. Obviously, you have some Pokemon with thick fat that helps a lot. Um, Damn, griefing others in your raid. That's cold, rando. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It sucked. And I mean, it's happened before. It happens. Like people do that, but it's pretty rare. I think now that there's like fewer people playing this game, like only the people that still want to be playing the game are playing it, and other people have moved on to other stuff. It's a lot rarer, but it obviously still happens. All right, let's evolve Pokemon Edition. Yep. Oh, I'm just real. Hang on. Let me make sure I look at this Pokemon. Yeah, it looks like Zacian's the other one. No nicknames. Close combat, wild charge, behemoth blade, dig. You know what? I respect this spread. It's a little weird. I like wild charge and I like dig. Of course, intrepid sword. You know, so I'll say 8 out of 10. Of course, I'm going to go with shell trap. Horsepoint Mine says, I'm just now realizing it's kind of sad they never implemented a feature where you could enter one of your own Dynamax Pokemon as the lone fighter against 4 other trainers. I was thinking about that. I was thinking that the next step for raids would have been that. It would have been like, you get to play the Kaiju, and they have to take you down. And you get, like, yeah, it's like the Dynamax Pokemon just gets all kinds of bonuses, like probably more bonuses than the raid Pokemon should get. Because going up against 4 other Pokemon when everybody's obviously going to be bringing these huge um, legendary Pokemon would be hard. I guess you could also just do it against computer controlled opponents, but I feel like that would be too easy. But yeah, definitely if you got to do that and you got to do what raid Pokemon get to do, which is to use multiple attacks in a turn. So you get your Dynamax attack, and then you get your like maybe two or like one or two more or maybe 3 more moves. That would be very strong, and I think that would be a lot of fun. Hard Success Evolved Pokemon Edition, yeah, yeah, definitely. That I've thought about that. Do I want a Dynamax that actually make things go faster? No, we've already looked at the only other Pokemon here, so let's try and well, so much for making things go faster. Okay. Maybe I should have Dynamaxed. Ah, stop it. Okay. Harvester says, yeah, even being given like rental Dynamax, Gigantamax Pokemon to run against teams, that could be fun for asymmetrical PvP. Yeah, definitely. And then you get stuff, and maybe you get more stuff like the more of them you take out, or the more times you take someone out, right? Because usually Dynamax raids are, 4 deaths regardless of who it is. Um, Maybe I should like set up a team of fashionable Pokemon. What are some fashionable Pokemon that I have? Drama Mama, definitely. Violinist is shiny, so I want to put him over here with the shiny guys. Um, oh, definitely Hampsome. I would say, um, yeah, Scream Queen probably not. Probably not that fashionable. Cool, but not fashionable. Um, I guess I want like elegant Pokemon is what I want. So maybe this will be my distribution of Pokemon for now, unless I find that there's a huge gap. Actually, I think Venipede is a very very cool Pokemon. We'll have Venipede instead of Frostmoth. So yeah, this will be a good fashionable team. Alcremie Mandibus is very stylish. That's true. Mandibus is literally wearing something. Um, yeah, Alcremie. We'll sit Alcremie out just because I have Sylveon. But yeah, let's look at where's Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz over. I guess we can do Mandibuzz over Drama Mama since we already have another fire type in Ninetales. I mean, Drama Mama's cool, but oh, Jellicent, very regal. Um, we'll keep Jellicent out for now. But yeah, definitely lots of options. I don't even know what. Light Screen, Reflect, Thunder, Wave, Psychic. Okay, yeah, that's good. Is it trained up? Yeah. Okay. Minty Pringles will rise another day. Yes. Definitely, if me being judgmental of other people's Pokemon becomes a feature, we'll see them again. All right. Yeah, no reason to switch out of Sylveon. Fashion Raider is a solid segment. I think so. Oh, I can't. They switched out of that Zoroark. You know, you're gonna lose points for the Urshifu, but okay. Oh, that girl on on the far left is Peony's daughter. Like she's an actual NPC that shows up at raids sometimes. Like you can talk to her. Not in the raid, but in the game. Ooh, some real talent here. Yeah, let's go in order. This Tyrantrum, no nickname. Stone ability, Strong Jaw. Yeah, Strong Jaw is good. No item. Stone Edge, Dragon Claw, Crunch, high horsepower. A good spray. I would say 7 out of 10. Saint JW says, okay, Poke Friends, I need some sleep. It's been fun. Laters. See you later, Saint JW. Thanks for coming by. Quick question, Rodrigo. Does anyone get anything other than a 7 out of 10? I've given 8s out of 10s. So what gets a 10 out of 10, right? It has to be a good nickname, like or things that might get you to a 10 out of 10. A good nickname, shiny, interesting ability, interesting move spread, like hidden ability or an ability that is like cool or interesting or relevant. So if you have most of those, you might get a 10 out of 10. What gets you below at 7 out of 10 is like, is it a legendary Pokemon that I see all the time? If it's a legendary Pokemon that I see all the time that's not nicknamed, that has like the usual ability spread, it's probably gonna get below a 7 out of 10. So let's okay. So Decidueye, we don't see very many Deciduas. It's nicknamed Skip, which is cute. Phantom Force, Leaf Blade, knockoff, Brave Bird. I mean, knockoff is good with the Dynamax. So long reach, so hidden ability. Yeah, Skip is probably a 9 out of 10. Actually, we'll Skip is a 10 out of 10. We'll give Skip a 10 out of 10. It's basically doing everything right. Plus, the Decidueye is already a very fashionable Pokemon. And despite the fact that it's actually a very powerful Pokemon, it's like people perceive the Decidueye as not a powerful Pokemon. Um, so we don't see it very often. Fashion Raider Rodrigo is like a hardened college professor. Nobody gets an A in his class. I mean, it's kind of true. You know, it's like it should stand. Like you need to do everything right in order to get an a 10 out of 10. Knockoff not working outside of a Dynamax move is rough in raids. It is, but also when you do a raid, you get to see what Pokemon you're going up against. So, um, oh, my cat's trying to get out. Let's look at the next Pokemon. Urshifu, right? So we see lots of Urshifus. It's not nicknamed. Close combat, Wicked Blow, Zen Headbutt, Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is kind of interesting, but not that interesting. So this is like a 6 out of 10, right? Maybe even 5. Just very much doing the Urshifu thing. I think it has a focus band, so that's something. I should double check what it has, what it's holding. Let me let the cat out real quick. Harvestry says, yeah, it's just a hassle being less able to swap moves out when you are queued up for a raid, especially when joining randos. Yeah, I mean, again, you see like the experiment that is Pokemon Legends Arceus. That's a game that allows you to swap moves, you know, not during combat, but on the fly when you're out and about. So, you know, yeah, it would be fun to be able to have more, you know, more knobs and dials to do before raids. But also raids, and you know, once you have your Pokemon trained up, raids aren't that challenging. So a lot of time you don't need them because of the way that raids work. You actually wouldn't be expediting things all that much anyway. Oh, we got into a Dad Shinies raid. Oh, this is gonna be something, guys. We're probably gonna see some fancy Pokemon here. Harvester says, I would appreciate seeing moveset profiles in future Pokemon games like WoW introduced with class specs. What do you mean by that? Like just a stock set of like 4 moves? It's like, do you want a tough Pokemon? Use these moves. Or what do you mean? Yeah, this is going to be something. If all of these are shiny, that's definitely going to be a thing. Horseman says, I feel like Pokemon's design philosophy is build your Pokemon beforehand to be ready for the thing you want them to do, so they're not going to make it much easier to change them on the fly. I mean, I agree. That's, you know, that's kind of how Pokemon works, and if they change that, they'd be changing some aspect of it. That's the whole point. Like, they want you to swap Pokemon, not swap moves within Pokemon, right? Shiny Dracloak. Here we go. Look at this fashion. Oh, I'm the only shiny here. No, I think that's Zacian's shiny. Also, that Togetic could be shiny. Actually, I think everybody might be shinies here. So we'll skip the Zacian because it's probably gonna it's like a bot basically, and it's just designed to get these raids done quickly. So let's look at Talonflame. No nickname. Flame Body, that's a good one. And it's probably a stronger one than its usual ability. Brave Bird, Roost, Will-O-Wisp, U-Turn. Pretty okay. Will-O-Wisp is very weak in raids. So a I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Really, the only thing it has going for it is that it's shiny and the flame body. So yeah, 7 out of 10 is good. Hardest says where you had two presets, yeah, like one set of 4 moves for one situation, another for others. Yeah, I feel that Pokemon wants you to swap Pokemon in that case, right, rather than swap the Pokemon's abilities. La. Oh man, this fight is going too fast. I don't know if we're actually even gonna get to look at that Togekiss. The Talonflame had a sharp beak as an item. Okay, but did it? It just had one flying move though. What was its flying move? Okay, let's look at it real quick. Brave Bird. Okay, I mean that's big. That's big damage. I can recognize that. Pioneer, Serene Grace. That's a strong ability, and I think it's shiny. Aura Sphere, Dazzling Gleam, Extreme Speed, Air Slash. I'm a big fan of the Aura Sphere on this. This is a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, and we'll push the we'll push the Talonflame to definitely an 8 out of 10. Physical Togekiss? No. That fighting move is special. It's like Lucario's like Hadouken move. Woo! We got a shiny Dracloak out of this judgy raid. No nickname right now. We might give it one later if we decide to train it up. Extreme Speed is physical though, right? I guess it was just there for the priority. Yeah, maybe. If they really... Again, we're assuming that these are like Pokemon that are meant to be on raids, and they're probably just... Some of them are probably just their Pokemon that they use for other stuff. So... But yeah, if you look at it in raids, it's not very good unless you want to get in for the kill, right? So extreme speed gives you that priority. If the Pokemon is weak and you're like, I want to have the kill shot on it, then extreme speed helps. Because also it's going to now have its abilities like sharply declined, so it's going to be a lot weaker. So I could respect that. Definitely, that Togekiss was definitely a 10 out of 10 Pokemon. Nickname, unusual move set, Serene Grace ability, which I don't know. I don't know if that's its hidden ability. I think it was shiny. It's so hard to tell with Togekiss. So no held item. I think so that would have held it back, but it had right. It's like you don't need to do literally everything right. You just need to do most things right, and that'll get you a 10 out of 10. Yeah, right. Congrats. Aurasphere's grand special fighting move, 90 power, no miss. Yeah, like that. I was like, I saw that there, and I was like, wow, that is a quality move set on this Pokemon. It's good to take out a last shield too, something slower, get a clean hit on it. And actually, it's something where like if you're not Dynamax, obviously because you would be using that ability, um, but the Dynamax Pokemon is faster than you, and there's only one tab, you can use extreme speed to knock out that tab, which then opens it up to the Dynamax effect. So I have no idea if this person has thought about raiding as much as I have, but they have impressed me. I'll have to go back to the VOD, see what their name is, and then definitely not do anything about it. Like, I don't. I want to become friends with this person, but actually that would be very weird, and I would rather not. Nope. Nope. Not no surprise trade. Don't want to accidentally send my Pokemon, my all my like super trained up shiny Pokemon to someone else. Please no. Judging your Pokemon. Oh, Toxtricity definitely another stylish Pokemon, right? It's got the punk rock thing going. Come on. Harvester says, true, true. I know Extreme Speed and Aura Sphere are remembered moves for Togekiss. Yeah, that's cool. Horseman says, I live in fear every day of accidentally surprise trading away something good. Yeah, no, me too. I do a lot of surprise training when I'm breeding. Boo. Not boo to you. Boo to this. Um, yeah, I've stopped surprise trading when breeding just because I just end up with I just have so many Pokemon after like breeding stuff that like I just let them go. Like I'm like, well, I could surprise trade it and maybe get something good, but chances are I'm gonna get something that I'm gonna have to let go anyway because I don't want to keep tons of Pokemon. It's like sometimes you get something with like a hidden ability or like a because all other breeders are also doing it. Um, so sometimes you get something that you don't have. Um, but yeah, a lot of the time I'm just like, ugh, I have so many Pokemon already, and it's so hard to keep track of like this Pokemon has a hidden ability or this Pokemon has an egg move or whatever. Like I know that you can like star them or square them or circle them or whatever, but even that takes work and you have to go in and check and whatever. Hoo hoo. This raid is gonna be something. Here we go, fashion fans. Harvester says, I would enjoy sending out a bunch of Pokemon for surprise trades with cryptic names, like they're receiving some scrap of a secret message. That is a good idea. Yeah, I could see having too many eventually. I've done no effort into completing the Pokedex or anything, so it's nice to help fill out the ranks. Yeah, I can see that then. Horseman says that's a great idea. It is. It's very creepy. Um, Definitely because it would fit. Like some Pokemon can have like multiple words. Like you can have a Pokemon be like and the jewel. It's like and the jewel. What's it talking about? Man, maybe that's too many characters, but you could do something like that. All right. Ooh, high fashion here tonight, people. Okay. So a shiny Dragapult, like Dragapult was a very common Pokemon um, for a long time, but it has gone down in popularity because of all of the because of all the legendary Pokemon: Dragon Dance, Dragon Darts, Phantom Force, Steel Wing. I like the Steel Wing. What's its ability? Clear Body, which I think it's its basic ability. So this is a 7 out of 10. Doing a lot of stuff right, but no nickname and no held item. Yeah, not to exceed 3. Yeah, yeah. Like she spoke to, or and she spoke. Sunsteel Strike. Okay. Oh, now we gotta get hit a bunch. On March 2nd, yeah. Or like, yeah, New Year's is like on New Year 2024. It's like, oh my god, what's this Pokemon telling me? What's gonna happen on New Year's 2024? Okay. Let's look at the. Okay, so it's called Scarox or Sherox. Still pretty good. Fury Cutter, Bullet Punch, Psycho Cut, Wing Attack, a respectable thing. A Technician Scizor. This is like a very with a what is that band called? Choice Band. Again, like strong decisions here. Actually, I don't know if Sherox is just the German name for this, but we'll assume that it's not. This is definitely a 9 out of 10. A lot of strong decisions were made here. Some modern Pokemon cryptid stuff. Harvester says, "Goodness, I want to publish a novella through Pokemon Surprise Trade that nobody would ever be able to piece together." Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a tight technician Caesar. Definitely strong. I guess it's like I don't want to do any research. I could look up if I need to like lower a point, but maybe you just get extra points for being German. What's the damage on Punch? Like 60? Man, that is a good setup with technician. Okay, Sherox is in fact just the German name for Shizor. I won't. I'm not gonna bring down the score for that. So I guess you also just get points for being German. Oh, I could have looked at the Solgaleo, but I'm just gonna. I'll gotta definitely give that Solgaleo an 8 out of 10, just from looking at it. It's a legendary Pokemon, but it's a rare. Like we don't see very many Solgaleos or Lunalas. We see a lot more Lunalas than Solgaleos. Um, and it's shiny, so good for them. So yeah, it's okay. Base 40 up to 90 after Technician and Stab. Yeah, man, that Shizor just takes you out before you have a chance to do anything. Horsewoman says, I feel like you get points for being up and playing Pokemon in Germany right now. It's 1 a.m. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Uh, I'm guessing this is probably already closed. All right. Well, maybe we will leave it there for today. Um, Pokemon fashion rating is something that we might do again someday. Um, it's like I know I saved, but there's something in the back of my head that's like you should save. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. It's something that we might even be able to do like together. Like we will both do raids. Like maybe we can do community raids and also I rate your Pokemon. Um, I'll probably be a lot less like judgy about like community Pokemon. Or maybe I'll be more judgy and just like try to make it funny. I don't know. We'll see. It's something that could happen. Where's my just chatting? Here we go. Let's get some music going. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's stream. We didn't do Poison Team today because I wasn't feeling super great. Um, and But we'll get back to Poison Team hopefully next week. We're very close to the end game, so you guys should definitely come back for that. Also, I am the video that came out today. I'm very proud of. Not because it's good, but because I spent a lot of time on it and it cracks me up. I think it's hilarious. Even like you might look at it and be like, "This is dumb," but I think it's really funny. Um, let's see. Harvester says that would be fun. Hoping another time I can join in on some raids and maybe dodge the judging process. Yeah, probably. Horizon says I'm always technically working when you stream. One of these days I'll join in on some raids. Yeah, that's great. Again, I haven't done like any sort of like formal like we're raiding. Like once I think once we're done with Poison Team, we'll do some like we'll be like okay, we're gonna start doing community raids for a little while before we maybe move to something else. So yeah, thanks guys. Again, go check out the YouTube channel. It's called Lopez Family Variety Channel. Um, and you can also check me out on Twitter if you haven't yet. And that's at Fearsome Critter on Twitter. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the stream, or if you're watching on YouTube later, hello future people, and thanks for watching. Ending slide. Look, oh here it is.